Hello.
Once said, sustainable fashion is not the trend, but the future. A very warm good evening to everyone. I, Snehi Agrawal, am going to be your host for this session. Taking inspiration from the above quote, I would like to welcome you all to this sport workshop where classes 9 to 12, henceforth our group A, will be interviewing in a common goal, claps for scraps. In the previous workshop, we learned about dealing with plastic. We also acquired knowledge about recycling, types of plastic, and the most interesting was die with waste. Moving forward, today in this session, we'll be acquiring knowledge about sustainable textile and fashion, introductory narrative. So, not taking much time of yours, Handing over the session to our favorable panelists, the versatile Ms. Sania Malhotra and the exuberant Mr. Lokesh Ghai.
So thank you. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, great. Great. So a very warm welcome to today's session. I will be keeping it interactive. Also, I'll share a presentation with you all. So I'll just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's dive in directly to sustainable fashion and textile. So let's go backward and I'll open this to all of you. Let's look at the meaning of these three words, sustainable fashion and textile. So what does textiles mean? Anyone?
Fabric or
Very good. So fabric, what you wear, it's textiles. Okay. So fabric is textile. What is fashion?
the way we are designing to wear it and the way impression we give.
Okay. So textile is tangible, but is fashion is not tangible. It's more like an idea. So what people like, what is sustainable? Third one.
Something that can be used for a long duration of time.
Okay, great. So together, what would sustainable fashion and textile means?
So sustainable fashion and textile means when the fabric or a fashion can be made so it can be for longer duration and for by using less resources.
Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, so can you answer this? So what is that one garment that you are wearing, that you wear the most? It's comfortable, casual, and comes in a variety of design.
My oversized t-shirt.
Okay, others? Yeah, I want to hear from more people.
So shorts.
Okay, more people.
Skirts and jeans.
Okay, more. You can have the same answer.
So dresses, frock.
Okay,
Hoodies
think what
and
is
loafers.
okay. Think what is the most comfortable and casual thing. Most of you may be wearing it also today. Is actually what the first person said, t-shirt. Can you thumbs up how many people are wearing a t-shirt? Let's see. Okay. So we have actually quite a few people who are wearing t-shirt today. So now let's look at, so what I'll be doing today is that I'll be introducing you to short narratives in fashion. So let's start with this t-shirt one.
Sir, your video sound is not audible.
Sorry, the video sound is not audible.
No,
Yes.
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. So, okay, just let me know if does it work now. Is it
Yes,
working
sir.
now?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry
Yes.
about it. So I'll play it again.
Consider the classic white t-shirt. Annually, we sell and buy 2 billion t-shirts globally, making it one of the most common garments in the world. But how and where is the average t-shirt made, and what's its environmental impact? Clothing items can vary a lot, but a typical t-shirt begins its life on a farm in America, China, or India, where cotton seeds are sown, irrigated, and grown for the fluffy bolls they produce. Self-driving machines carefully harvest these puffs. An industrial cotton gin mechanically separates the fluffy bolls from the seeds, and the cotton lint is pressed into 225 kilogram bales. The cotton plants require a huge quantity of water and pesticides. 2,700 liters of water are needed to produce the average t-shirt, to fill more than 30 bathtubs. Meanwhile, cotton uses more insecticides and pesticides than any other crop in the world. These pollutants can be carcinogenic, harm the health of field workers, and damage surrounding ecosystems. Some t-shirts are made of organic cotton, grown without pesticides and insecticides, but organic cotton makes up less than 1% of the 22.7 million metric tons of cotton produced worldwide. Once the cotton bales leave the farm, textile mills ship them to a spinning facility, usually in China or India, where high-tech machines blend, card, comb, pull, stretch, and finally twist the cotton into snowy ropes of yarn called slivers. Then yarns are sent to the mill, where huge circular knitting machines weave them into sheets of rough grayish fabric, treated with heat and chemicals until they turn soft and white. Here, the fabric is dipped into commercial bleaches and azo dyes, which make up the vivid coloring in about 70% of textiles. Unfortunately, some of these contain cancer-causing cadmium, lead, chromium, and mercury. Other harmful compounds and chemicals can cause widespread contamination when released as toxic wastewater in rivers and oceans. Technologies are now so advanced in some countries that the entire process of growing and producing fabric barely touches a human hand, but only up until this point. After the finished cloth travels to factories, often in Bangladesh, China, India, or Turkey, human labor is still required to stitch them up into t-shirts. Intricate work that machines just can't do. This process has its own problems. Bangladesh, for example, which has surpassed China as the world's biggest exporter of cotton t-shirts, employs 4.5 million people in the t-shirt industry, but they typically face poor conditions and low wages. After manufacture, all those t-shirts travel by ship, train, and truck to be sold in high-income countries, a process that gives cotton an enormous carbon footprint. Some countries produce their own clothing domestically, which cuts out this polluting stage. But generally, apparel production accounts for 10% of global carbon emissions. And it's escalating. Cheaper garments and the public's willingness to buy boosted global production from 1994 to 2014 by 400% to around 80 billion garments each year. Finally, in a consumer's home, the t-shirt goes through one of the most resource-intensive phases of its lifetime. In America, for instance, the average household does nearly 400 loads of laundry per year, each using about 40 gallons of water. Washing machines and dryers both use energy, with dryers requiring 5 to 6 times more than washers. This dramatic shift in clothing consumption over the last 20 years, driven by large corporations and the trend of fast fashion, has cost the environment, the health of farmers, and driven questionable human labor practices. It's also turned fashion into the second largest polluter in the world after oil. But there are things we can do. Consider shopping secondhand. try to look for textiles made from recycled or organic fabrics. Wash clothes less and line dry to save resources. Instead of throwing them away at the end of their life, donate, recycle, or reuse them as cleaning rags. And finally, you might ask yourself, how many t-shirts and articles of clothing will you consume over your lifetime? And what will be their combined impact on the world? When we produce
Okay, so we saw this very interesting video about the life cycle of t-shirt. So I would like to ask you now, what were the points that you gathered from this in context of sustainability?
That we should use organic like t-shirts which are made from organic materials or
Okay, what impact does one t-shirt making has on the environment?
So one t-shirt
So
called,
it is consuming lots of natural resources and the energy.
Okay,
so one t-shirt uses 2700 gallons of water, which is a huge amount.
yes, it is a huge amount. Yes.
And sir, when we wash also, then also much water is wasted.
Yeah, not just water, but even washing powder, which actually is very, very harmful for the earth, is also gone. What else?
And the electricity that we is also consumed.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? What were the stages? Just remember, what were the stages of making of t-shirt?
The people who are used in stitching the cloth, they are facing very bad conditions since they're underpaid for their work.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. What is the first stage?
So growing
While
cotton on the
producing
fields using
certain
pesticides and
harvesting of the
insecticides.
seeds.
Okay. Okay, let's go step by step.
Land.
Right. So let's go step by step. One of you said growing of cotton in the field itself is harming the earth because 99% is chemically grown cotton. So that is adding chemicals to the earth. Okay. What happens after that? What is the other issue? After the cotton is grown, what happens?
So
like
it is harvested
Okay.
and the
For
seed is removed
cotton
from
into
the
cotton
cotton.
threads, we use a lot of water.
Okay, so cotton is harvested. After that, what will happen? Will it, what is the other issue of sustainability that happens? Do you know about the term carbon footprint? Anyone? You might have heard the term carbon footprint. Anyone? Yes.
So it is like the greenhouse gas emissions that that are caused on an individual level or by an organization, something like that.
Okay, okay. So remember in the video we saw that most of the cotton which grows is actually travels very far. So it's maybe grown in South America and it is traveling as far as China or India. So which means a lot of energy is used for its travel. So it is not locally made, but it has to travel that far. So that's where the energy footprint come in. So you're wasting so much of energy to just make it travel from one continent to the other continent and back and forth again. Okay, so what happens after? So we spoke about growing of cotton. We saw how unsustainable it is, causing harm to the environment. Then we saw that travel creating more environment impact. Then what happens that has reached to the other country?
So they are spun into t-shirts by the local workers.
Okay, and what is the environment impact that happens at this stage?
So they are put into dyes for coloring,
Okay.
and these dyes
Okay.
are made up of very harmful chemicals that harm the health of the worker.
Right. So they harm the health of the worker, and even for wearer also, then may not necessarily be safe. Then what happens once they are sold?
they are distributed to one who said
Okay. Okay. So they are distributed And once they're sold, what happens? The environment impact.
So once they're sold, they go to our households, and then we use a lot of water to wash them, then to
Hmm.
keep them.
Okay. Okay. So from this example, we saw that how much impact and pressure it is just one piece of clothing, which is just as basic as a t-shirt, that at the stage of growing cotton, at the stage of then making it travel to another continent, environment impact, then at the stage of processing it into clothing, and then the last one was consumption. So it has all the stages. Now the video also said that we can do something to minimize the impact. What was it?
So we can donate our
So
old
we
t-shirt
can reuse
and use for
and
dusting
use
and
one
cleaning.
t-shirt
So
for a
we can
long
reuse
time,
it.
They're made of
and
organic.
can we use it?
Okay, so what are the 3 R's? You know these 3 R's of
Reduce.
sustainability?
Reuse,
So
reduce, and
reduce and
recycle.
recycle.
Recycle and
Okay, okay, so that's great. Can we all say in chorus? I know it will be very disturbing. Slowly, what are the 3 R's? Everyone unmute and say
Reduce,
reduce.
reduce, use, and recycle.
Okay, great, great. So please remember these 3 R's. And so this was the first narrative, which was on environment sustainability. It had other things also, but primarily environment sustainability is what I wanted to draw your attention. Now I will go to the next narrative. So I am again sharing my screen just in case my screen is not visible or the sound is not audible. Please do speak up and let me know. Okay, so this was the first narrative on the first narrative was the t-shirt one, environment sustainability. Okay, so what month it is? It's September. Winters are arriving, right? So what is
Yes,
that
sir.
one smart
Yes.
essential clothing that you all
So
have in your
sweater,
Woolen.
the sweater,
Sweaters,
Okay.
Sweater
Okay.
Cardigans.
coats.
Okay.
the
What?
coats,
Okay. What
blazers,
else? You want to go
blazers,
out for dinner? You want to look smart? You want to look fashionable?
Sir,
blazers,
leather coats.
sir, hat or blazers.
Okay.
The
Okay.
scarf.
Okay. What about this?
The sweatshirts.
Leather jacket.
Sir, leather.
Okay.
Leather jackets.
Okay. How many of you have a leather jacket in your wardrobe? Thumbs up, please. Yes. How many of you have leather jacket? Thumbs up. Okay. 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 So I see few, not many. Few people have a leather jacket. Okay. So let's find out about the next one. Okay. So the next video I'm going to show you may have some disturbing images. So, so in case somebody, you can also avoid if you want to. It's a very short video of like 1.5, 2 minutes almost. In case you don't want to see, you can avoid this one also. So these are beautifully leather work, handcrafted bags and jackets.
It is not audible.
So in this, it's not so much about, okay, let me check what is the issue. Okay, why is it not audible? Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, what did we see here? What was the issue?
Basically, everyone loves leather jackets and leather purses, and like leather is basically in trend for everyone. But we sometimes do not see the cruelty that people are doing for that. They are killing animals for leather because leather is obtained from killing from the skins of the animals, and for that we have to kill the animals, which is really cruel for the animals.
Okay.
So
Any
this video
So for our
shows
fashion,
the
we are
reality
sacrificing the life
behind
of
making of the
innocent
leather.
animals.
right?
It
We are
shows how cruel we are just for satisfying our own needs, just for making us look fashionable. We are killing the innocent animal, which is not at all preferable and good as well as.
Okay. Anyone from you, do you have a pet? Dog, cat?
I
Just
do.
give, okay, thumbs up. How many of you? Okay, so quite a few people have one. Even if you don't have, imagine if anybody, like you wouldn't bear to see anyone killing your dog or a cat. It's like a family member. So every year around 100 million animals are breeded and killed on for primarily for their fur. So this film that you saw was basically an awareness campaign which took place in Bangkok, which is a popular fashion hub. So a lot of original and fake brands are sold there. And this is basically PETA, PETA. Does anyone know what is the full form of PETA? Okay, so basically PETA had organized this. So PETA is People for Ethical Treatment and Animals, and they have a branch in India also. So you can go on their website and find out more about PETA. So now what also is happening is that there are brands which claim that they are selling leather. So like Baggett is one of them. And what Baggett says on their website is that wallet get contemporary update with twofold color block wallet designed by men and for men by Baggett for a regular use, made from cruelty free leather So it is emphasizing, and that's their selling point. However, what I like to emphasize is unless they have a certificate from PETA, it may or may not be true.
लेदर पहनने वालों को हमें
So this is a video in Hindi which I'm going to share, which will throw more light on the topic of leather. So do you think synthetic leather, let me ask you before we start the video, is better than animal leather, or animal leather is better?
Sir, if you look
So I
sustainably,
think synthetic leather is
synthetic leather is better.
Far more better.
Animal leather.
Okay. Let's look at this video and then we'll talk about it more.
लेदर पहनने वालों को हमेशा ये दुविधा रहती है कि उनके वजह से कितने जानवरों को मरना पड़ता है, और आजकल जानवरों के बारे में अवेयरनेस के चलते बहुत लोग वीगन लेदर पे स्विच कर रहे हैं। भले ही आजकल प्लांट बेस्ड लेदर्स बन रहे हैं जो कैक्टस, मशरूम, पाइनएप्पल, मैंगो और अन्य ऐसे प्लांट से बनते हैं, लेकिन वो अभी तक ना ही कमर्शियली अवेलेबल है और ना ही उस दाम पे अवेलेबल है कि आम आदमी उसे खरीद पाए। दे के लेदर ऑप्शंस में हमारे पास दो ही विकल्प अवेलेबल है, एनिमल लेदर और सिंथेटिक लेदर। अब ये तो हमें पता है कि एनिमल लेदर जानवर के चमड़े से बनता है, लेकिन क्या आपको पता है कि सिंथेटिक लेदर पेट्रोलियम से बनता है? आइए जानते हैं। सिंथेटिक लेदर को आर्टिफिशियल लेदर, वीगन लेदर, प्लेदर, पीयू लेदर, फॉ लेदर और इमिटेशन लेदर भी कहा जाता है। इसमें आप ये दो टर्म्स हमेशा देखेंगे, पीयू और पीवीसी। पीयू एक टाइप का प्लास्टिक है जो सिंथेटिक लेदर बनाने के लिए सबसे अहम रॉ मटेरियल है। इसमें पॉलिएस्टर फैब्रिक्स को गोंद के साथ मिक्स किया जाता है और उसमें और केमिकल्स और पेट्रोलियम ऐड करके उसका मिश्रण बनाया जाता है, जिसका अल्टीमेटली एक फैब्रिक बनता है। अब पीवीसी की बात करें तो ये रॉ मटेरियल कच्चे तेल, पेट्रोल और गैस से उपलब्ध किया जाता है, जिसे और केमिकल्स के साथ मिला के एक मिश्रण बनाया जाता है। अब बात करते हैं प्रोसेसिंग की। एक अच्छी बात यह है कि सिंथेटिक लेदर में लेदर के मुकाबले कम प्रोसेसिंग होती है। अब देखिए ना, लेदर में चमड़े के टैनिंग प्रोसेस में बड़े सारे केमिकल्स का उपयोग होता है, जिससे टैनरीज में काम करने वाले लोगों को भी खतरा है। और जब ये केमिकल्स नदियों और नहरों तक पहुंचते हैं तो ना ही सिर्फ हमारे लिए बल्कि पानी में रहने वाले जीवों के लिए भी हानिकारक है। एक चीज जो लेदर को सिंथेटिक लेदर से बेहतर बनाता है वो ये है कि जहां सिंथेटिक लेदर को 500 साल लग सकते हैं ब्रेक डाउन होने के लिए, वहां लेदर को केवल 50 साल लगते हैं। लेकिन कम से कम सिंथेटिक लेदर के प्रोडक्शन के लिए करोड़ों जानवरों को मरना तो नहीं पड़ता। अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि अगर अवेलेबल ऑप्शंस में से दोनों ही ऑप्शंस किसी ना किसी तरीके से हानिकारक है तो क्या किया जाए। अगर आपने ठान ही ली है कि आपको लेदर जैकेट पहननी है तो आपके पास दो ही ऑप्शंस बचते हैं, एक बैड और एक वर्स। और जाहिर सी बात है कि बैड चुनना वर्स चुनने से तो बेहतर है। लेकिन अगर आपको दोनों ही नहीं चुनने हैं तो आपको अपने चॉइसेस के ऊपर जाकर अपने चॉइसेस के इम्पैक्ट को कंसिडर करना होगा।
Okay, so in this video, you saw how the options that we have in India, both of them are no good. I'll switch to another example. ये अभी इंडिया में आया नहीं है, but hopefully it will come in some years and it will be accessible to the common people also. So let's look at this more optimistic initiative.
I'm about to introduce you to two people who are doing the impossible. They're turning this into this. Say hello to Adrian and Marte.
Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm Marte. And we make vegan leather.
It all started because these two realized there's a problem. The fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world, and leather is a staple in the fashion industry. Much of the world's leather comes from a cow, and that cow has to drink a lot of water. Up to 1,800 gallons. And then, leather has to be tanned, which requires even more water. And it's treated with toxic chemicals which hurt the environment and make it not biodegradable. This contributes to the 100 million tons of waste that the fashion industry creates.
We wanted to change all that.
Since Adrian worked with leather in the auto industry and Marte worked with leather in the fashion industry, they both were aware of the environmental impact and decided it was time to make a change. So they met and they talked.
We've got to do something. Yes, we do.
A replacement for leather meant less harm to cows and other animals.
So, aren't there a lot of alternatives to leather already out there?
Yeah, sure. Fox leather, for instance. Yes, ma'am, but they're made out of plastic. It doesn't breathe and it has toxic chemicals. And they're bad for the environment.
Since they knew plastic wasn't the answer, they started researching plant-based materials to use. And after a lot of brainstorming, the answer was right in front of them.
Cactus!
Cactus is the most abundant plant in Mexico. It's everywhere.
Cactus is actually good for skin and does not require a lot of water. And also, since it absorbs carbon dioxide, it's good for environment.
But hold on, isn't it like killing the plant when you cut it?
No. It's just like a haircut.
Yeah, we just cut the mature leaves and then the small ones will grow in a matter of months.
Adrian and Marte left their jobs to dedicate 100% of their time and effort to the project. And after 2 years of financial, emotional, and technological struggles, they developed the perfect solution.
It was tough, but we knew it was possible.
In their patented process, you cut the leaves, clean them, mash it, dry it for 3 days, mix it with non-toxic chemicals, then shape it into any texture or color you want.
And that's it.
You get organic, biodegradable, and durable vegan leather.
It lasts up to 10 years.
It's flexible, breathable, and it doesn't stain. But how much?
About the same as animal leather.
These two entrepreneurs from Mexico are thinking big. They built a network to create more and more vegan leather. They want to make shoes, accessories, furniture, and leather seats for your car, all out of cactus.
Our hope is not just to help the environment, but also help to create jobs.
But for us to go from making leather out of this to this, we need to let the world know that there's something else out there. With these two, some cactus, and the world demanding vegan leather, they've realized their dream.
Cactus is green, and so is the future. Yeah!
Okay, so this was an interesting narrative. What do you guys think about it?
Sir, it's all about awareness among the peoples.
Okay, what do you think about?
The more people know about this, the better our surrounding, the better our sustainable development would get, and less animals would be hurt.
Right. What do you think about it in Indian context? I want to ask everyone. Like this is
Sir,
an
it
example.
can be useful in
from
desert
yeah.
areas because
Yes, please carry on.
sir, because in desert areas there are many plantation of cactus and they are grown in very large scale.
Okay.
So we can set up the industries there.
Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah, what's your name?
So Mehak Joshi.
Okay, Mehak, that was a good response. Yeah. Anyone else? What do you think about this in Indian context?
It will decrease a large amount of unemployment. It will create employment opportunities as in Rajasthan or whereas the desert areas in India. And that's a big problem in India nowadays.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is
So first of all, sir,
yes, go on.
so vegan leather is not much popular. We must encourage the celebrity like you just showed us Priyanka Chopra so that they wear vegan leather so that it will be more popular and it will be known to common people also. Like I came to know about this today only.
Okay, I'm really happy that that you came to know about it. Wonderful. Yes, Palak Gupta.
So if we see, mainly it can be possible in dry region, but we can see that pineapple tree is also an option for making vegan leather. So it will firstly provide the employment, and even it will be very good in the initiative of saving the lives of animals.
Okay. So Palak has raised a very interesting question. She's saying that we could use pineapple trees also. Now I come to the Indian context. So see, there's a country called America, and you all know American corn, right? So American corn, America produces a lot of American corn, and they have started making textile out of that also. However, for a country like India, it wouldn't make sense to make fabric out of a food item, because in our country we have to first see what is the priority. Food is the first priority. So in case there's shortage to uh, eat pineapple or banana, then it is more important to use those for eating purpose rather than for textiles, especially if the edible part is used. So that is a very important point, that what may be sustainable in a particular country may not be sustainable in the other country. So that's where the previous person who said the example of desert duplicating the same thing here, if it works, then wonderful. Yes, Team Green has something to say.
So we can use bamboo trees or hemp trees.
Yes, absolutely. All the things which are not used for something else which is more important can be used, provided it is possible to use them. Okay, Team Mind.
So, so like cactus is a really non-productive plant. You hardly get anything from that, and getting a textile from that can be really useful, and that too in the desert areas
Yeah,
without much of resources.
yes, that point is taken. Thank you. So we'll move forward because I have more narratives to cover and we have a short time. Okay, so I will encourage you all to look at PETA. You all know the full form also. Now let's look at the what is, any guess what is greenwashing? Quickly, you can, I can't see you all, so you can unmute and say if anybody has any guess. I've actually already talked about greenwashing in the wallet example.
So greenwashing is something that we are showing that we are doing it for sustainability, but originally it is harmful.
Very good. So it is basically just being fake. It is not being true. So you are doing, so greenwashing is basically the act of misleading consumer regarding environmental practice. So it's basically that one is engaging in advertisement and spending a lot of money in advertising, claiming that the product is actually environment friendly, but in reality it is may not necessarily be. So I just wanted to introduce this term so you're aware, not everything that may be claimed as sustainable is not necessarily sustainable. So as consumer, you have to really go in depth and be more aware. Okay, now we spoke about environmental sustainability with the t-shirt example. We spoke about animal rights through the leather example. Now we'll come to the third and very important one. So what does this chart shows? So this basically is, any guess, anyone, before I say?
Oh, maybe the rate of production.
Okay, so this chart is actually showing that where most of the fashion products are made in the world. And if you see, if you total up, it is almost 10% in the West. The major concentration is Southeast Asia. It's primarily India, Bangladesh and China, and a little and Vietnam, and like the neighboring country Indonesia come. And if you also think about Bangladesh, Bangladesh is a very, very small country compared to India, but it is making almost double what India is producing in terms of garment. And because China is again very huge. So, in terms of density, बहुत ज़्यादा maximum fashion products are processed, stitched, made into garments in Bangladesh. So this takes me to the next narrative. And this narrative is very, very important because this narrative changed how the fashion field was seen. So I will play this. I hope the sound is audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Great.
sir.
I started the day normally like other days. Immediately, I take my camera and get there. I suddenly felt, am I in a war zone? I was hearing the scream from the rubble, someone saying, chop off my leg and pull me out. I stopped shooting. I was trying to help. Around 7:30, two volunteer workers called me and showed me two dead bodies under the rubble. I saw the bodies kind of huddle each other, holding each other to survive. I started shooting again. I felt like these images should be the voice of these people who died. No one knows their story, how they survive making these clothes for first world country. There's no question the contribution of garment industry in Bangladesh in the economy, but it needs more good rules and regulation. I see the brand names all the time. The tags remind me the tags I've seen in Rana Plaza collapse. People don't want to pay more. So if you don't want to pay more, how the producer would pay more to the worker? So it's like the chain, start from the consumer and ends to the labor, Still, a lot of people are missing. They didn't find their bodies. Somebody lost two daughters, two sons, husband, wife, both. Who will take their responsibility?
Okay, so what did you, this is the third topic, like the bigger third topic. What did you understand from this video?
Sir, in Bangladesh, in the Rehana factory, around more than 1,000 people died and more than 2,300 people injured just because of the machineries, the machineries which are kept over there. They cause heavy weight on all the floors, and that building collapsed because of these heavy machines and all of this.
Okay. Okay, team mind. After that, I'll come to team nature.
Sir,
So
this video shows us that the building collapsed due to which many people died. And it also shows that we're not ready to pay much more, but the labor's demand for a minimum wage. So how would be the person who's managing would able to pay to the laborers if we'll not pay to them? And also the problem which was faced as the building collapsed, many people died, many people lost their family members, and in short there was no concession paid to them, which should be done because they occurred through a big loss due to that factory collapse.
Okay, thank you. Because we have less time, only if you have something different to add, you can please unmute and say. So I may not be able to go to everyone. Anyone wants to add anything different, can unmute and go ahead.
So it is like a chain that not only the animals or plants are getting affected, but the people that are making the jackets and other items of fabric are also getting affected due to this. So we can also avoid that.
Okay, so basically this narrative is about exploitation. So what happens is that there's a lot of awareness in the developed countries, and over there people know their rights. So they ask for fair wages, fair earning. Whereas in developing countries, where there is a lot of poverty, it is easy to exploit people because they are really in need, and that's where they are suppressed. So a place like Bangladesh, that's something as tragic as this happened, where uh, where more than 1,100 people died because nobody cared. They just wanted cheaper things to be made. They didn't care for the basic safety. For so any public space, there are rules. So आपको एक mall बनाना है, तो you need to have minimum numbers of toilet. You need to have minimum number of spacing between things. You need to have a building which is in good condition. So all that was not taken care. All was cared was just profit, which is actually about greed. Yes, team mind, if you have something very pressing, I can see your raise. Okay, ठीक है. Okay. So we saw three very important narrative which basically expose the dark side of fashion, which is not about glamour. Now I will talk about two optimistic narratives. The vegan leather was also optimistic. So I'm sharing my screen. In terms of sustainability, can you think who is the most sustainable person that you know of? Quickly, anyone? In your world, who is the person who has a very sustainable approach?
Elon Musk.
Sorry? Yeah, come on, make a guess. In your world, whom do you think is more sustainable that you know of?
Sir, I am not sure, but according to me, Honorable Ratan Tata sir.
Okay, in your world, not brands or companies. So the most, sorry?
Tulsi Gauri.
Acha. Okay, so I'll come to, can you see my slide again?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, if you think about it, आपकी दुनिया में सबसे sustainable approach is of your mother. So if you think in always your mother will have a very sustainable approach. And actually, we don't value homemakers in our country as much. And it's only few years ago that India decided it's time to pay the homemakers. So actually, women who may not be working even professionally and maybe just homemakers are more sustainable. They know. Yes, somebody's mic is on. I'll request you. Somebody's mic is on. Request you to mute, please. Yeah. So it is. So in terms of sustainability, actually, it's your mom. You will see she'll have the most sustainable approach of recycling. All the 3 R's she already knows, and she most likely is also practicing them. What do you see?
A paratha with tons of butter.
Yeah. So mouth-watering paratha, and this is what my mom makes. She actually doesn't throw away anything. So even if koi sabzi purani ho gayi, she will reuse it to make something even more delicious. So it's just come naturally to in all the household to use food, not to throw it, to reuse textiles. So this is an initiative which I had started. I work with a group of women who live in semi-slums of Ahmedabad, and all these women are actually homemakers. So they are not like, they don't claim that they are artisans or they are like professional quilters. All they do is that they use old fabrics and second-hand fabric, and they cut them as rectangles and squares, and then they stitch to make these quilts. And this is actually a technique, a craft technique, which is from Sindh region, basically Pakistan, Punjab, which is called Ralli quilts. So Ralli is a technique where you cut lot of fabric you old fabric, you cut it in strips, and then you can cut it in triangles and squares and just stitch them together. It's very, very simple. There are many other craft techniques in India also, such as we have Sujni, where actually the fabric is made from warp and weft. I spoke about this in the very first session, you may remember. So actually the yarn is taken out and usi se leke it is stitched. And lot of time what women would also do, agar koi purana sweater chota ho gaya, to they'll open the yarn and make a new sweater out of it. So there, that tradition is very much there. That approach is very much there with in our home. The approach is there with how our mothers just operate the house. Okay, now there are some brands also which are doing that in fashion, such as Doodlage. Doodlage is a good example. It is something where they completely recycle old fabric. They take old garment. For example, you can see this garment, and आपको देख के ही लग रहा है कि how there are two garments which are out of use, and how they've stitched together and made a new garment. So I am short with time, so I will not go to Doodlage. However, I'll encourage you all to look at Doodlage website. You can just Google Doodlage fashion and their website will come, and you can see a lot of interesting stories about how Doodlage has been working. Okay, so just to summarize, who will like to share what were the three main narratives that you saw as problematic? Any one person, first person gets a chance to summarize. The first one was
The t-shirt.
What was teacher narrative talking about in one line?
That t-shirt he like wear.
Making it is how much harming the environment.
Okay, so it was basically about environment related. The second narrative was
leather jackets.
And what kind of
Cruelty towards animals.
Very good. And the third one?
Building
People that are engaged in leather jackets and other textile items.
Okay. Third one was Bangladesh. So Bangladesh incident was very, very important because uske baad pehli baar debate started happening. Journalists started writing and fashion brands were boycotted. So that's where they had to become conscious. Unfortunately, some of them engaged in greenwashing because that's an easy way out, and some of them actually started making a difference. So Doodle's example, why I also wanted to share, because it's very Indian. It is a Delhi-based designer who is making who is using second-hand clothes and making new things. So you can look at that. So remember the very first day I spoke about the toothbrush example? How many of you remember? Raise your hands, you were there. Okay, so most of you were there. So in the toothbrush example, what I shared was that how it is that we all need toothbrush, but it is not necessarily that we have to buy a plastic toothbrush, and we can reduce the plastic and make it more recyclable. So from 100% non-recyclable, at least we could reach 95%. So we have reduced the negative impact. So similarly in clothing also, we can reduce the impact by 3 R's. So now I will give you a very important exercise. Please listen carefully for tomorrow, what you have to do. So for tomorrow, I'm giving you a choice of 2 things. Either you have to bring a piece of clothing of yours which you are planning to discard. आपको या तो अपना कोई पुराना कपड़ा लेके आना है जो आप फेंकना चाह रहे हैं क्योंकि मे बी इट हैज torn out, maybe it is not in good condition, maybe it has a hole. That's one option. Or second, you have to find waste fabric which you can either get from a tailor, old bed sheet which is to be discarded. So you have a choice of bringing 2 kind of materials. Okay, so then we will have a design activity tomorrow, and that is what will lead to making of something which will come out. Do you have any questions regarding tomorrow's assignment? कल सबको वीडियो में उसको दिखाना होगा आप क्या लेके आएंगे. Okay, before I end, I want to ask you, how many of you want to become a fashion designer with a sustainable approach? Please raise your hands. After watching the video, anyone who wants to become a fashion designer with a sustainable approach? No one. So
Sir, I would like to make those machines which would be helpful for making these sustainable.
Okay, wonderful. See, food, clothing, and housing are the most basic needs. So it is not that people will stop eating or people will stop clothing. They need these things. What is important is to remember the 3 R's. So what is important is to bring an aspect of sustainability. It may not be possible to completely eradicate the impact, but it may be possible to reduce it as greatly as to 90% also. So it's not disengaging, it is engaging with a meaningful purpose. Okay, so with that, I will come to my end of this session and over to Team Setu.
Thank you to both our panelists. It was a marvelous session. So finally, we come to our end part of this session. I would like to say thanks again to our panelists for their informative and interesting talk, and to all participants for their active participation. As you all are aware, next workshop is on 27 September, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on sustainable textile and fashion, discussion and design activity. See you all there. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, so we all meet tomorrow. Please remember to bring your assignment also. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Definitely, sir. Thank you.